Hello, guys. I'm Brian Lawson, and welcome to another episode of Uncover Lake Norman, where I try to help you discover the exceptional people and places around the Lake Norman area. And today I am with Mr. Matt Swanson. Hello, Matt. Matt is the owner of MS Digital Solutions, a digital marketing agency that focuses on helping small businesses make the most out of their digital footprint. We believe that without a strong website at the core of its online presence, a small business will be less effective and efficient in any of their online marketing efforts. To that end, MS Digital provides insight, advice, support, and development services to the businesses they serve. With over 17 years experience in the media industry as a driving force behind the adoption of the internet at over 100 small community newspapers and working with businesses of all shapes and sizes in other market roles, Matt brings an understanding of audience engagement and business operations to bear on the challenges that small businesses face online so that they have a partner that they can work with. Matt lives in Mooresville, North Carolina, with his wife of almost 20 years, Jennifer, their 16-year-old son, Ryan, and a number of four-legged furry friends. So, Matt, I was just also noticed the other day on Facebook that you put something on there about your son in martial arts.
Oh yeah,
So,
he
what about what's he doing?
not anymore, but he competed for several years. He took karate with a couple different schools over the years, and through two of them, he was competing in AAU karate, and had the opportunity to go to nationals twice, where he did quite well actually.
Got it. Got it. Well, so tell us a little bit about MS Digital, and we read through what your bio says, but give us a little insight about exactly what you do.
All right. So MS Digital Solutions was formed about 5 years ago, and I formed it to give businesses access to the experience and knowledge and tools that I had acquired over 17 years trying to teach small community newspapers how to embrace the internet. I wanted to give those tools to small businesses and give them the ability to kind of put that to work in engaging their audiences online, whether that's through their website, through email, through social media, other things. I firmly believe that if you don't have your website in order, that the rest of your online marketing is going to be less effective and less efficient. If your website's in order or is not in order, SEO is not going to be doing so well. Email marketing, social media marketing, you may be driving people to a website, but if it's not set up to convert, capture, engage that audience when they arrive, then you're not going to be really doing what you want to do.
Right.
So I really help businesses focus on their website and kind of take it to that next step. And
Okay.
and help them support all the different systems they may want to attach to it.
Right. So as I was reading your bio, you mentioned just now too, your what kind of moved you into this was working with these newspapers. And as we know, the newspaper industry, it has shifted a lot. It's had to, right? But I was wondering, as you were doing this, you said to help these small community newspapers adopt the internet or be a part of the internet. It kind of struck me that I would like to know some of the challenges that you went through during that phase, right? Because I'm sure that there were a lot of people that you were working with that were kind of set in the way they did things. and I'm sure those were some obstacles that you had to work through. And I'd like to hear some of those if you have anything. And I asked that question because I would like to maybe after that, I would like to maybe us think about how we're almost faced with the same kind of obstacles today, right? Because there's got to be a shift in mindset right now. So tell me about if you have any stories or anything about some of those obstacles that you faced with the newspapers.
War stories from my time in the media.
Yeah.
Well, to say that 60 and 70-year-old editors and publishers may be a little bit set in their ways is probably an understatement.
Yeah.
There is nothing like the momentum that you gain in business by having done something the same exact way for a century to make an industry hard to change course. And so the good thing is, when you boil it down and you talk to a couple of these editors and publishers, they have the same objections, they have the same goals. So if you can figure out where those challenges are, where those obstacles are, you overcome those, the rest kind of falls in line. The editors were always worried about, well, hey, if I put it out on the internet before it hits print, what if my competitor picks up the story? So you're telling me, Mr. Editor, that you believe that you're the only person that knows about insert story here.
Right.
Yeah. Except for that real in-depth, investigative journalism, sure, you might be the only one that's dug that part up. The school board meeting, the car crash, the this, that. No. All your competitors know. And your TV competitors, your radio competitors, they can put that on the air in the next 10 minutes. If you're going to wait for your next press cycle, a weekly paper might be a week from now. A daily could be tomorrow. So your audience will know where they heard it first, saw it first. So why shouldn't it be you? Put it out there. You've got the most information. So once they get past the concept they can't scoop themselves, you slowly get the editorial staff on board. The editors looking, going, yeah, but can we make money selling ads? Well, it turns out the internet, it stuck around. People use it to engage audiences all over the place. And when I first got into that industry, there was definitely a component of the internet. Is this going to really stick around? Is this going to be a thing, or is this just a fad? But when you can take a group of newspapers and you take maybe one paper from 10,000 page views a month to over 1 million over the span of a couple of years, they're kind of going, okay, there's an audience there. There's people that are actually relying on this. This is a thing. So they come around. One's looking at the money, the other's looking at the content, and those are really the two biggest components.
Right.
Can they make the business model work and engage an audience and generate revenue and continue to pay for the operations offline?
Right.
And will people actually, read it? And they sure as heck do.
So what do you think, or do you see any similarities of a transition then to a transition now? Because, honestly, before the coronavirus with COVID-19, that I had never done a Zoom call. I'd never done a Zoom interview like this. I had done some other go to meeting stuff at work or whatever, maybe, but it was nothing like I'm doing now or like some other people are doing. So how do you think this has affected the way we're shifting in marketing?
Well, the concept of business as usual has to go away. The quote about of madness, of doing the same things and expecting the same results, or doing the same things and expecting different results is madness. Um, we can't keep doing the same things. We can't continue to engage our audiences in the same ways that we have in the past. Either they're being forced to engage with us differently right now. Like if you look at restaurants, you know, so much was dependent upon walk-in traffic over the years. And now for this period, they've all shifted to call in, email, app-driven. They're not taking orders even as a person at the front desk taking, they may be taking it over the phone, but it's not a walk-in order. It's all being done remotely. They're disengaged from their audience. So their sales process, where they would traditionally have wait staff upselling dessert options or this or that, all of that's changed. So if you want to continue to grow those, you have to create a sales process online that does those things for you, because you don't have that person in place to do those steps.
You don't have the word of mouth as much.
You don't have the word of mouth that's necessarily, or the person just walking by going, ooh, that looks like a good place to eat today. I think I'll go in here. Foot traffic isn't a thing right now in most retail areas where you're going to find restaurants. And so, so not only just driving people in, but when they begin the buying process, the kind of order of operations has changed. It's self-driven. They're looking for the food. I want this. But if you don't have a prompt, hey, do you want fries with that? Or do you want, the things that we've always relied on people to do along the way in the ordering process is kind of upsell and remind them of different benefit statements. So that person's not there.
Yeah.
So you've got to find a way to interject that into the relationship and in the engagement that you're having with your customer in a new place now.
Right. So if you were, let's pull an example out and kind of walk through it then. Let's say that you were, a restaurant had contacted you. We'll just use a restaurant that has maybe contacted you and they've said to you, Matt, we're used to the foot traffic. We're used to this. We don't know how to start this new era of getting our name out and marketing ourselves. What would you bring to bring them to, get them on board with, or how would you guide them into this new era that we're in?
Well, the first step is they have to be able to answer the question of why us? Why is somebody going to choose to do business with us?
Okay.
Once they've embraced that knowledge, once they have that answer, they're equipped to understand where people might be coming from in making that approach to do business with them. So they understand, okay, people come and eat at my restaurant or eat our food because they like the social atmosphere. They like being able to sit down and watch the TV, the games on the TV from a sports bar, whatever. Embrace what they are. Figure out their spot, what makes them different than that restaurant and all the other different restaurants out there. Figure out your spot. Once you understand that, then you've got a starting point for what your engagement process is. Why are they coming? What are they coming to get? So what are kind of the lead-ins? Oh, I'm a burger joint. Okay. So here are these. This is where we start and we try to map out the kind of buying experience, what they want it to be. What are the steps along the way? What are the points that we want to offer up advice or change the process a little bit? And, from there, we can build what we want the user experience to be when they come online to purchase. Then it's a matter of promoting it, because I don't care how you build it. If it's new, nobody knows about it yet. If you build it, they will come. The absolutely most misquoted movie quote of all times. The real quote is, if you build it, he will come.
Right.
Field of Dreams, talking about his dad, will come
Yes.
walking out of the cornfield. And that's what's going to happen. If you build it and don't tell anybody, that'll be one person, will be you. You'll know about it, and you're not going to sell anything. Then we begin the process of informing the public. Social media, email lists, if they have that of their customers, and say, hey, there's a whole new way that you can interact with us. We know you love our food, and this time we know it's a little difficult for you to enjoy it. So here's how we're going to make it easy for you to have that experience with us that you were hoping for, with our food, and then begin a promotional plan.
Right. So you mentioned the first thing you said was, I think, is very crucial, because that's kind of where I try to go with most things anyway, or most of my interviews, is that you said they first need to know why they're there, or, the why. So do you find that a lot of people that you work with have to be guided to find out their why?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. They know their why in very general terms. And this is an area that you're being familiar as you are with the real estate industry, that I see all the time. People are like, hey, I want to help people buy houses. Okay, well, you and 12,000 other realtors within, 6-county area. Good. So why am I choosing you to buy or sell a home? So let's narrow this down. Are we looking for if you want to be neighborhood specific, we're starting to thin the herd a little bit. We can now start to stand out a little bit. Hey, I want to focus on this kind of home or that kind of buyer. I want to focus on seniors. I want to focus on veterans. I want to focus on first-time buyers, things like that. Okay. Now we're starting to do something that, from a marketing standpoint, we actually have a chance to stand out and speak to something very specific. Because if all we're just doing is saying, I buy homes, or I sell homes, or that's a lot of people waving that flag. And it's very hard to stand out, whether you're talking about in search and on Google, if somebody's looking for you, or even just in the mind share of friends and neighbors. If you say, hey, I'm just going to ask my neighbors who they worked with, chances are you walk around the neighborhood, talk to 10 people, and you probably had 10 different realtors.
Right.
So you aren't any further ahead in gaining that mind share. So you've got to start from a point of a little more specificity. When you're talking to everybody, you're talking to nobody.
Yeah. And it's finding that uniqueness about yourself, right? Because I think of, the buffet versus the entree order. The buffet it covers a mass. And if you've been to many buffets, a lot of buffets are not very good quality. There's a lot of quantity, but not very good quality. And if you want the good quality, you order something, or you go somewhere that are very unique. They specialize in this, and that's kind of what you're talking about.
Yeah, you go to the buffet because you want choices. You aren't sure what you want, and you want kind of an average level of a lot of different choices to choose from, so you can have a little of this and a little of that. You go to an Italian restaurant because you want pasta. You go to a burger place because you want burgers. You probably don't go to the burger place because you were feeling, hey, I want pasta. I mean, you may roll the dice and happen to find the burger place that has one good pasta dish, but that's going to be rare. So it's about matching the needs that people have with what they're trying to find. If they're wanting selection, then yeah, the cafeteria style, the buffet, what those work.
Right. And there's so just to stay on that point a little bit. So if you're starting a business right now, or you're wanting to stand out as a business, um, you don't need to be the buffet. You need to be the one. The consumer is going to look at a buffet first because they're shopping. So you need to be that one that says, this is what I specialize in, more of a niche, because there's no way you as a marketer can really help. It's very hard to help someone that says, I want to reach everybody.
Right. Yeah. And just because you say, hey, I'll use my own business as an example. I build websites. I service websites. There's a lot of things I can do. But if I'm going to talk to people, I narrow it down to 3 spots: support, design, and insight. Insight into their digital footprint, support of the systems that they have, and I build websites. Those are 3 things. There's a reason phone numbers are broken up into 3 and 4 numbers, because people can remember those nuggets. They can remember a couple things, but they can't remember a 20 number, 20 different things. Most people can, 3 and 4 is well within everybody's grasp. So, that's where you focus your marketing messages, on these couple of things. And hopefully that's enough to build the relationships, so that as you start to have more conversations, they go, oh, well, I also need this over here. So the pasta place says, hey, we're known for our lasagna. That's what brings people through the door. And at the end of the day, they really like the cannoli.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So Insight, tell me a little bit more about Insight, of how what you mean by how you help a business or a person starting a business with insight into. Help me with that.
Yeah. So insight really for me is how I use the term digital footprint very purposefully. When you think about footprints, when you think about footprints on the beach, let's use that as an example, it tells you where somebody's been. You can see what direction they're going. You can see where they've been, where they came from, where they're going. You can see, really, are they running? Are they walking, skipping? You can see a lot of information about a business from its footprints that it leaves as it traverses the internet. In social media, you can see, okay, they're active, they're doing lots of posts, or they're very inactive. They have this account sitting here with, they haven't posted since 2018. Got it. Are they still open? So there's lots of little things that you can see. There's also, when you think about it, any business that's been around for a little while probably has changed an address, changed a phone number, done something like that over time. You do a search on a business and you see, oh, look, there's that old phone number. It's still sitting out there, potentially causing a bad experience for customers that are trying to call it and it doesn't ring through to you anymore. So there's all sorts of things like this that I can look at on their website, on social media, in Google, and really even behind the scenes in what's driving their search results in Google. So looking a little bit at what they've done in the past from a search engine optimization standpoint, to really look and say, okay, is what you're wanting to talk to people about what you're really telling them? Is the information that people are seeing and finding for you accurate? Is it accurate and on topic in terms of what you want to say from a marketing standpoint? Because it could be that, hey, all the information that's out there about me was about that kind of marketing theme that we were doing 2 years ago for a product that we don't even, or service we don't even support anymore. So let's take all of that and say, this is what people see about you. This is where people think you're going online. And does that match with what you as a business owner want? If not, what do we have to do to change that, to steer those footprints somewhere else? And so that's really where I come from an insight standpoint, is taking a look at all the information that's out there in a variety of different places, whether it's citation and online directories, whether it's where Google has put you from a search standpoint on what words, what is your website telling to Google, what is your website telling to a reader about what's the most important things on various pages. Yeah. So that's how we dig into the digital footprint of a business.
Yeah. And, back to what we were talking about earlier with the way things have changed so much over this time, again, to use restaurants maybe as an example, where restaurants have had maybe not had to rely on their digital footprint. They're a brick and mortar standing unit. They rely on foot traffic coming through. That's their footprint, right? And now they've got to reach outside the box and to rethink, how do we now become or increase our digital footprint and become more on ordering online than we did before. So
yeah. That's the other aspect of a footprint, is when you look on, they use the footprint as related to a building, has a footprint on a map, on a plan of a area. It's the shadow that it casts, the area that it encompasses. And so you're right, when people are walking down the street or past a sign, something like that, those are the things that influence them. But now, if you don't have the people there, if they're going somewhere else, how do you cast your footprint in a place that they're going to see?
Yeah. And it's changed, I'm sorry to just stay on this idea, because it has become the focus of, the past couple of months. I think people have become in panic. There are businesses, there are restaurants that have that are going to be shut down, and they won't make it out of this. And I think a lot of them won't make it out of it because they're looking like this and how they've always done things. What words could you give someone like that could kind of say, hey, you've got to do something different, and this is what you have to do. And I know that they still have to make the decision, but what kind of persuasion could you use
to get people to look at using parts of their digital footprint differently?
Yeah.
We have to get them thinking about it differently. And so one of the questions I frequently ask people is, okay, so let's think about your website now. If you were going to give it if you're going to write up a business card for your website, what's the title on it? This is your chance to define what that website is doing for you. In the past, a website may have been just a kind of static online postcard. It might have been just, this thing sitting out there, a flyer on the internet. But now, let's look at it from a functional standpoint. We can't let it do what it's been doing. It needs to do something different. So what's its new title? What's its new role in the business? Start thinking about it in those terms, hence the title on the business card. And now we can say, okay, I want this to be a salesperson. I want this to be my customer support person, so I can free up those people to do sales. I need, what does your email need to be doing? What does your website need to be doing? So what's the business card title that we put for those different elements?
Right. Well, Matt, I know that there are a lot of businesses out there that need your help. So why don't you tell us how is the best way for people to get in touch with you?
Well, email is always easiest, matt@msdigitalsolutions.com. msdigitalsolutions.com is the website. find phone number, contact, all the different ways you can reach me there. We're out on social media. You can find us in a lot of different places, but quickest and easiest is always going to be email.
Okay. All right. So, Matt, I have enjoyed today. It's great to hear from a professional to talk about how how you can help businesses that are really striving for today to make a difference in the way they do business, and somehow to come through this, not only in this time now, but on the other side, and also to be able to thrive instead of just survive. So I appreciate your time, and we'll have to get back together at another time and see how things are progressing.
Yeah. Thanks for having me on, Brian.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
See you. All right.